Hi, everybody, and welcome to Hello Maria. It's me, Maria, your host, and I'm so happy you're here listening to our newest episode. Hello Maria is a podcast created to talk about everything that life throws at you. Because remember, every friendship starts with a hello. Hi, guys. Welcome to this new episode. I'm so happy to be here and be able to share my thoughts and my what is going in my mind and what's going on in my life this week. And not just this week, but like literally lately. So today's topic is the American dream. By the title, you might understand like, okay, it's people going to America. But besides just talking about immigration to the United States of America, I'm going to start talking also about my experience with immigration and since I got married, how like a roller coaster it's been to be able to be with my husband as a family in the same country. So let me start from the beginning. I traveled to the US back in 2017. I was studying. I got a scholarship to study over there. So I had such a blast. I met such amazing people. I have great friends that I still maintain to this day. And I was able to just have an experience I've never had before. I've never been to the US prior to that time. So the fact that I was able to be there and have that sense of independence because I was able and had to do everything on my own and I had to budget. I had to um uh, be able to do my groceries, travel, go to work, go to school, study, prepare projects and all that. So it was a great experience to grow. I was fresh out of college and it was a great experience I would say to have that sense of like being able to just spread my wings. Even though I talk to my mom every day, but I had that freedom. I felt that I was able to do the things that I felt was right. For me, I think that even though like the experience was not perfect, I think that that the fact that I was able to live several things that I cherish to this day made me want to think that I didn't want to go. When the time came to leave, I was like, I can't, I just can't go. I can't leave this place because there's so much growing that I have to do. And I remember that by that time I was in contact with one of my cousins. He lives in Florida, in Miami, Florida. And I was in contact with him. I was telling him, like, hey, I don't feel like it's my time to leave. I wish I could stay because I think there's more growing to do and there's more experience to live. And even though I did a lot, I visited the White House, I went to New York several times, and I experienced different things in different states and also with different people. I just felt it wasn't enough yet. Like I was thirsty to like literally do more. So my cousin then told me like, "Hey, why don't you just tell the universe what you need? And once you tell the universe what you need, just wait." And I was like, I didn't believe in none of that, but I was like, okay, if you say so, I'm just gonna tell the universe like, hey, I want to be back. I want to come back, and I I think that there's more for me to do. Due to the fact that I never thought that I was gonna be able to travel back, and the fact that you need a visa to go there. I was like, I never put too much of a, let's say, too much of a thought and to traveling to the US and to spending to go there. Because even though I was there, I was living on a dorm with several people who were not from there. So the fact that if I travel back to Washington, D.C., that's where I was not going to be able to save some money, let's say, in the hospitality part of it. So it was like, maybe I should go when I'm ready, when I've saved enough. And everything shifted. I was like, oh, maybe one day I can go to Disney. I don't have to go back to DC, but I can go to Disney. Because I've never been. So it became like such an imaginable dream. And I was working towards that. But all that was, let's say, clouded by the fact that we had a huge pandemic. So my dream to go to Disney never came. So I was like, well, I guess that one day I'm gonna be able to. So I tried to, once they lifted some restrictions, I renew my passport and I applied for the US visa. Um, but there was such a backlog that literally there was no appointments. There was no appointments at all. And I was like, well, I think that I eventually, when I, um, when there's appointments, because they actually set a date for 2022 that they were going to have appointments, I was like, okay, when they tell me that there's appointments, I will travel and it's going to be good because I was gonna travel with my sister. But little did I know that in 2020 I was gonna meet someone great and I was gonna fall in love. So guys, the reality is that, and I'm not ashamed of it, we were all on Tinder during the pandemic. And that was me. And the fact that they had this thing of like mm, Tinder passport they call it, allowed people to just connect with people in other countries. Um, and I was like, well, I wanted to go back to DC, so I'm just gonna geolocate me in that area and just see like who can I meet. And I was not looking for something, let's say, a relationship. I was open to meeting friends and making friends in order to like go there and have like this amazing experience and live something of what I had back in 2017. But well, little did I know that me swiping right in that area would land me to my husband, to my now husband. And it's so funny because we didn't think that it was going to end the marriage, but we had to act fast because the fact that immigration it is what it is to this day is because of the lack of employees in the immigration system, and also the fact that there were more restrictions when President Trump was president, and they have been kind of like easing up like the restrictions and all the requirements. They're asking people from foreign countries to go to the US or to migrate to the US. So we thought that, okay, if this is what we want and this is love and this is really the life that we want, we have to pull the trigger. And that's what my husband did, and he asked me to marry him back in October 2021. I was so happy, and I was such of like, I never thought that that was going to be me. Never thought that we were going to have such an amazing connection and love, feeling love. So, once that happened, I started planning a wedding. And I didn't know that it was going to be so hard planning a wedding on my own without my husband. But besides that, there was a lot of things to do when it comes to a wedding that is going to be held at church. My husband by then, he is a believer in God, but he was not a churchgoer. So he wanted to be part of like that spiritual and that religion part that I'm part of, like that sense that I'm part of. So we had to do all of that prior to getting married because those were the requirements. So from mailing paperwork from Panama to the US and vice versa, it was crazy. Like it was crazy to even like plan our courthouse wedding because I couldn't fly there, so we had to get married over here in Panama. And the fact that here in Panama they're not too flexible, so finding a place that was going to be flexible with like the requirements that we needed, um and the time that we had to like get all of that. So fast forward to after our courthouse wedding, we received our wedding certificate, and in April 2021, a year after we started dating, we were married. And we were mailing our paperwork to our lawyer to be able to start our process of immigration. So people might ask, why didn't I do the fiance visa? First of all, we didn't know how much it was going to take. Usually it should take like 6 to 7 months for a fiance to travel to the US, and when they get there they have 3 months to get married. Once uh, that is done, you will apply for a readjustment of status, and that's like the process for the fiance visa. So you enter as a fiance, you get married, file for the readjustment, and then you get a green card as a resident. But from that to from the 6 months, 7 months that take to getting a green card, it could be a year to 2 years. And not just that, but the immigration, the USCIS system was having a lot of backlog from people who log in their fiance visas or their application to for their alien spouse, son, daughter, whatever, parent. um they were still waiting since 2020 and 2019. So even though like fiance visas are allegedly faster, they would take longer. And the fact that, well, my husband, when we met, he was 31, and now he's 33, and I was 27, 28 when we met. um we thought that, okay, once we're gonna be like this age and we were still not gonna be married, um because we were gonna still be waiting for this a fiance visa. The thing is that with this fiance visa, I have met a lot of people telling me like, hey, I've been on this fiance visa for a year and I have not received no response. And I was like, geez, like imagine that. Like a lot can happen in a year. You If people don't think that being apart is really talling, it's you cannot imagine, long distance relationship is not for everybody, and maintaining something that you think that is strong, but with all the stresses of the world and adding immigration is not the best. It's really, ugh, it's not good for your relationship. And I remember my husband and I, when we were choosing what process we were gonna go for, it created a lot of stress for us because we were like, okay, if I do the fiance visa, my family is not going to be able to go to our wedding. But if I do this one, your family can come and my family can be there and we can have a wedding. But it means that we are going to be apart longer. So we put everything in the table. And when we hire a lawyer, our lawyer gave us like a timeline on like what approximately it was going to take. So we talked about like doing other things to expedite our process, from um submitting a K3 visa, which is kind of like a fiance visa but like for reunification of families. So instead of like me waiting for my green card here or my green card process here in Panama, I'll be waiting for it in the States, which it will be a plus because we're going to be together and we can start our plan as a family. Because the reality is that for me, back in 2020, I discovered that I had an infertility issue, and the fact that I had this, I couldn't delay um having at least my first child. So we had to think about all those things. Okay, we want to be married, we want to have kids. How do we do that if we are apart? We submitted everything um last year. um it takes a while, I'm not gonna lie, it takes a while to get everything set and everything ready to get submitted for USCIS. There's a lot of paperwork, and I would recommend not to do it on your own, because I feel that my lawyer has been really helpful when it comes to the details that you need in order to get something just looked over and approved easier, instead of like getting responses back from them and vice versa, and just having like that ping pong ball. So she's been able to just um uh, center everything and just look for everything that we needed, and also look for loopholes, because the fact that we submitted the K3 is because we thought that, well, because she advised us that that will be a way that we could expedite our process. And besides that, we did an expedite of the process with paperwork regarding my health, because after we experienced our first miscarriage, because we had a miscarriage back in August 2022, we thought that, okay, we cannot wait any longer. We need to expedite this process, because after like having a miscarriage, I having surgery, and my husband not being able to be with me through all that process of getting better, and the process of like healing from the loss of a child, it was it was hard. It was hard for me, it was hard for him, it was hard for our relationship, and it created a lot of stress. And I would say that our relationship went through like a hard moment in time there and then. So we had to like, in some way, shape or form, understand that all of this was happening because we were apart. There was a lot of like straining in our relationship because we were apart, and these were things that we should be living together, not apart. So we submitted an expedite. We talked to our lawyer, we submitted an expedite, and Unfortunately, um this year, a couple weeks ago, we got a response, our first response from UCIS, that our expedite was declined. I was shocked because I was like, but wait, why was it declined? We don't have a response of why was it declined. It was just, yeah, you're not moving forward with this expedite. You have to like um uh, wait the normal process. And I was freaking out because I was like, okay, so now we have to create a new plan. And just let me tell you, they didn't allow us to like submit all the um we had evidence that supported this expedite, all my doctor's paperwork that literally was saying that I was unable to have kids, um or I was gonna it was gonna be harder for me to have kids if we were apart for a longer period of time and for a couple years. Because I have a they gave me like like a prognosis of like my fertility, and they gave me like, okay, you're gonna be okay to have kids for 5 years, then we will have to see other options. And this is like, it was stressful for me because I just had a miscarriage, and now I only have 5 years to not go through like this whole thing again. So you cannot imagine, like, we are now in a literally like in a, I don't know, like in a desert, in a lonely island, and we're just like, what are we gonna do? We don't know what we're gonna do. And it's so hard to understand that this is what if it has come. I understand fully that every country has their laws, but when it comes to families, it's so hard for me to understand that it's good for a country to keep them separately, or separated. I'm so like in awe, like I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to just make things better. But like having a marriage long distance, it's not like my husband is at war, it's just that I cannot travel or see my husband because I'm not able to travel there. And even though my husband has his work, it's a little bit difficult for him to travel here every single time. So I don't know if someone from the USCIS would hear this one day, but like, help. We, my husband and I, want to be happy. We want to start our family. And we wish to start our family in America. Uh, I don't have crazy amount of time to be able to start a family. And I don't want to miss out on having a family just because of immigration. So that's the message here for USCIS. But in another note, if you're going through like immigration, I can tell you that I understand. I truly understand what is and how do you feel. And the anxiety is not just normal anxiety, but separation anxiety. I haven't seen my husband since August 2022, since literally our wedding, and we haven't had a honeymoon. And I have to wait until I'm able to see my husband, which hopefully that will be in March, this March. So, and after that, I don't know when I'm gonna see him again. So like, just imagine, like, it's I don't know what type of marriage I have. I don't know. I don't understand how this is okay. But and I would say, like, in a better notice, I would say, in something better that we found that's a possibility is that even a friend of ours and our lawyer recommended to write to a congressman, our congressman, which will be in Maryland, um, so that they could help us out with our process. Hopefully, this works. We haven't started this part of the process, but I hope that this works because I am I'll be so happy if they, like, someone from Congress can help our process be faster so that we can be together and start our family. Because at the end, that's what matters most, our family. And if they're not able to help, we already have a plan. We are thinking of starting our family here in Panama, which will entail not being together and me being a single mom for pretty much part of the kids' first year, and probably I'm gonna be alone for my whole entire pregnancy if you're able to conceive in those two trips that my husband is gonna make this year to see me. So, geez, I don't know what to tell you. If this has taught me something, is to be patient. I never thought that I was ever gonna move to the U.S. Never thought that, and permanently, I never thought that was gonna happen. But the fact that it's happening, and it's really stressful to even get there, um, makes me a little bit disappointed. Of And it's a huge disappointment that we have to go through all of this to be together. But I pray to God every day that one day this whole thing is done and we can just start our life, because we have not been able to do the normal things, spend our first Christmases or spend Easter together, go to church together at our local church, or even like buy our own house. None of that we have been able to do because we are apart. So I will end this episode telling you that be strong. If you're going through immigration, be strong. Um, whether if you are expecting a family member to come to the U.S. or you're the family member that's going to the U.S. or whether you are a wife or a husband that's a part of your spouse for the longest, be patient. That it's gonna get better. Like, I pray to God it's gonna get better, and I hope, really hope, it's gonna be better this year, and all of us that are waiting for our process can one day have the American dream and be with our families, friends, and loved ones. Thank you for listening to our latest episode. If you want to know more about my journey in this world, please follow me on social media. I'm always happy to make new friends, so don't hesitate to say hello. Because remember, every friendship starts with a hello.